I think what's important that you talked about with 1099 and W-2 is these 1099 employees, not only can you not protect your brand, but you can't protect the customer experience, right? It's not consistent. You know, you may have somebody who's awesome, who really takes pride in what they do, and they deliver your food on time, right? I mean, it's perfect. Then you have other people who don't.
On this episode of A Call to Leadership, I invite Sam and Travis, my Business Monday co-host, to talk through a real issue around delivery services. We had an incident at our recent retreat where a delivery driver had potentially stolen goods. We can't disclose the name of the company, but we can sure tell the story and how this company handled a huge potential issue. Can't wait for you to listen in. I'm Dr. Nate Salah, and this is A Call to Leadership. Sam, Travis, welcome back. We're back in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Last time we shot, we were in rainy Northern California.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was
now
fun.
We're just have a blizzard here.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to a blizzard.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was a great episode. If you haven't listened to that episode, we're continuing this conversation on what our brand means and when we make a mistake, when there's a fail, and what do we do as organizations. And we talked a lot about Southwest because it was top of mind and having issues. Check that episode out as we continue this conversation. So important. In fact, I'll open it with this. Do you guys ever DoorDash? You ever use DoorDash?
Yeah, I have. And it was a bad experience.
Yeah, I have a couple times during lockdown. We did DoorDash a couple times.
Yeah,
Wasn't a great experience.
Oh, it was bad.
What were your experiences?
Well, the last one we were home. We ordered 5 guys, right? And we're like, order came, got the email confirmation. You know, I'm like, okay, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. 45 minutes came, it didn't come. An hour, didn't come. Hour and 15 minutes, we're like, oh, okay, something's going on. Called actually the restaurant, someone picked up. They said, yeah, the DoorDash guy hasn't got here yet. Your food's been sitting here for like 30 minutes.
Nothing like 5 Guys French fries after 30 minutes.
Soggy and wet.
Right.
I would have took
Cold.
them that night.
Yeah.
I would have took them that night. I was pretty hungry.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, they're all independent contractors from what I understand, right? So, you know, it's a level of control that you don't have with you know, when you're employing people in a W-2 manner, you have a lot more control over your brand, right? When they're a contractor, they own their own business technically. So,
yeah, because you got DoorDash, you've got Uber Eats now, you've got Grubhub. Those are I think those are the major ones, maybe 1 or 2 others.
And isn't there like Postmates or something?
see, there you go.
Right.
Another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't keep up.
I can't keep up either. I mean, my big thing is this, right? Like convenience wise, yeah, you know, I mean, it's convenient, but the cost is just so out of control.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, I remember we did it once. My daughter loves Chipotle. And I think like my burrito, which is normally like, I don't know, $12, $13, was like $25.
Right. It's like 100%.
Right. Like the markups, like, yeah. and I like did my normal order and we order from Chipotle a lot, but I normally go pick it up. And I was like, how is this like $70? You know, and that's like before tipping the person too. And it's just like, it is not worth it to not just get in my car and drive 10 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's expensive.
It's expensive. It takes forever, you know? And then you always see these videos, you know, I just watched one last night where some lady walked outside and the DoorDash guy was literally eating her sushi in his car.
Oh,
come on, man.
Yeah. And like,
I would be mad.
Right. Like, so, you know,
That'd make me mad.
the whole trust factor.
Right. I might pull the sushi out of his lap.
I don't trust
I'll be Channel 5.
Like, is that good?
Right.
Are you enjoying my sushi?
Right. Like, I just don't trust enough, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, to not mess with my food or something. So, there's a lot of things I'll spend money on for convenience. Somebody picking up my food and bringing it to my house is not high on my list.
Yeah, you're paying for convenience, and we're in a world like you just rattled off 5 or 6 different services that gives you a reason not to leave your house.
Right.
I think it's just it's consistent with what we have today. Everybody wants to sit home.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned something. I think what's important that you talked about with 1099 and W-2 is these 1099 employees, not only can you not protect your brand, but you can't protect the customer experience.
Right.
Right. It's not consistent.
Yeah.
You know, you may have somebody who's awesome, who really takes pride in what they do, and they deliver your food on time. Right. I mean, it's perfect. Then you have other people who don't. And so going into it, you don't know what your experience is going to be. And so you're just kind of flipping a coin, being like, I hope it's a good one.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and this is what we learn when it comes to the entire control experience, right? Control, order, perfection, in a way, is this hierarchical hegemony, a $5 word, which means order of dominance, right? It sounds very militaristic, and it kind of comes from that. It is. Yeah. But in a way, by having centralized command and then decentralized execution, you're able to have a better control over the experience. And interestingly, geek talk from a tax perspective, the IRS, specifically, if you're a 1099 contractor, you cannot have behavioral control. I mean, literally, that's part of the definitive measure of whether or not someone qualifies as a 1099. Can you imagine that in your organization? Say, we're going to have this product and service for you. We're going to try to give you the best possible experience, but by law,
we can't.
We can't have behavioral control over our teams.
Gray area, living in it, just dancing in the gray area. So at the end of the day, Nate had to segue the IRS.
Right. Of course he did.
Yeah, of course.
We're coming back, but we can take a detour.
Yeah. So, the government kind of forces companies to work in a gray area, and really, to be solvent, right? So I don't fault them for that. I mean, it probably changes you said price is high now. Imagine if everyone who delivered your food was a W-2 employee.
It'd be 3 times.
You wouldn't have Grubhub.
No. You wouldn't have any of those services.
You wouldn't have Uber.
No.
You wouldn't have anything.
No.
So realistically, if you're going to dial that number, be ready to pay.
Yeah.
And you should know that going into it.
That's it.
Or get in your car and, spend your $4 gas to go pick it up.
Well, and pay, and pay in a lot of different ways. One, I like that you brought that up as far as the cost goes, because we were, I've got lots of family members, the younger family members, who are constantly asking, Uncle Nate, would you help me with my finances? And so I'll go through bank statements and say, okay, well, let's take a look. 17, 18-year-old nieces, nephews, and so on. And so we'll go through bank statements, and I'll classify in categories and show you how to budget. And inevitably, there's about a 60% cost minimum on delivery food.
It's crazy.
And I'm talking about, okay, so, you're working making $12, $15 an hour at the local business, right? Because you're just getting started. I'm like, Uncle Nate, I don't have any money. Like, well, let's take a look. Like, you've spent an inordinate, thousands of dollars on delivery of Taco Bell and, 54th Street, and just name the restaurant, right? And it's like, well, like you said, you're paying 2 to 3 times the cost of this food to get it delivered.
Yeah,
it's insane.
All of a sudden, Taco Bell is a steak dinner. You know what I mean?
You can't go to Taco Bell without spending $50. Right. It's impossible. It really is.
Remember back in the day, it's like, man, I only have $3 I'm going to Taco Bell.
Right, or Jack in the Box, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those
we eat
tacos
Taco
for
Bell.
99 cents back in the day. God
now
knows what's in them, but
right.
Well, that's actually the good fast food
today.
Like tacos. Yeah, that's like the lesser of all evils.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You agree
Yeah,
with that,
I agree
right?
with you. Yeah.
Travis is in pretty good shape for those who don't know. So I always defer to him.
Watch the YouTube.
Defer to him.
You can see.
No. Definitely check the YouTube channel out. It's expensive. Inflation is this is a bigger topic, but inflation is affecting everybody, right. And our money's not going as far as it used to be.
Oh, by a long shot.
It's I'm seeing. I think Travis sent me something yesterday that I was reading about inflation and how it's peaking and things like that. It's like the slot machine in Vegas. You bet $5, but you win the 3
Mm-hmm.
and it goes crazy and it's like you won $3, but you bet 5. You think you're winning while you're losing because it's you're losing, but it's like a mental thing that keeps you playing. It's almost the same thing. Well, seriously,
It's
I feel like I seriously feel that way.
So I read an interesting fact yesterday. So since the dollar went away from the gold standard, right? Which I can't remember what year this was. I mean,
it's been a while.
The dollar has lost 98% of its value.
Not a good day. 98% of its value. Number. It's not a good number.
So I mean, it's
it's all fluff. And the problem is that the problem is until Americans don't feel they're feeling it, but they're not. We're very we don't want to think about it. We just want to wake up and live our lives and buy our milk for $1.50 more. And and
YOLO.
Then, right. So it's just we're getting nickel and dimed. And I guess to Nate's comment and Nate's advice is be smart with your finances. If
look at what's under the hood.
Look what's under the hood
and evaluate. And back in, I remember when I was coming up, not as much today, but I still do it. Man, every dollar counted. Like when I was working, my first job was at Chuck E. Cheese's. Right now, Showbiz Pizza Place actually is what it was originally called. And my minimum wage, I'm going to date myself. Minimum wage was $3.35. Yeah, big time, right?
Did you ride a horse and carriage to work? How'd you get there? Whoa.
Yeah, you like that?
Sorry, Nate. No more old jokes.
Okay, it was the 80s. So I was working part time. I was going to high school, and I mean that $300 check. It took me some elbow grease to make that money. I mean, what is that? 100 hours, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of time for $300.
That's a full-time worker for a month these days.
Yeah.
Right. What country are you talking about? So I was trying to make every penny count. And I went into that, into adulthood. I would go to Aldi's. I would look at all the off-brand stuff, and I would just maximize my money. And now, fast forward 30 years.
You don't do that anymore?
No, he does.
To an extent. To an extent. I still go. I might have mentioned this on a financial episode recently, so it bears repeating. To this day, I still go into the aisle at the grocery store that's got the markdowns, and I'll look and I'll say, is there something I'm buying already that's in this section?
Yeah,
and maybe I'll buy it. There's a caveat to that because I did it the other day, and some of the food was good. The other was my wife's like, "What is wrong with this salad? It's wilted," and I was like.
I saved 30 cents.
I didn't want to go there.
Right.
You're just wired that way.
I didn't want to go there. Why don't you just pick it out? Just there's 4 pieces of lettuce that are good.
Because it's the whole bowl.
It's pretty much, yeah. So, I mean, you got to be careful with all that.
Right.
Yeah. My wife is is the same way. I'm like, why didn't you just because we'll go through stuff or we'll buy, we'll go through certain creamers, she'll buy one. But then when we run out, we got to go again.
Yeah.
So why don't you buy 2? We're going to go through this.
Right.
Well, just buy it next, be cheaper next week or something. I just don't, I want my brain to be wired more like that, but it's not. If I need lettuce, I pick up the lettuce.
Yeah.
I don't look at how much it is.
It is. I think there is an ingraining or a wiring in the behavior. I had a buddy of mine who was saying that years ago. He said, "Nate, you're so weird. You'll spend, an inordinate amount of money on certain things that you find value in, but you're so frugal." He called me, chintzy or miserly on other things. I'm like, dude, that's not true. Well, that same day I was going to Lion's Choice to get some lunch, and they're like, I gave my order, and then the lady's like, "Would you like cheese on that?"
Don't tell me
you asked how much
cheese is, bro.
I said, "How much is it?" She said 40 cents. I go, "No, I'll pass." I'm like, he's so right. I just got caught. But you're right. It is. It's a wiring.
It's wired in you because you've had to get to where you're at today. You're very successful, thankfully, and you had to go through a time in your life where that 40 cents was meaningful. So it doesn't just go away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I'm happy to report I get cheese when I want now.
All right, good.
All right.
I feel better for you, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
It's not good for you. You should.
Right, take the cheese out. Circling back around. this is all part of this conversation around our perceptions of organizations and how we engage or disengage in companies, right? This is back to our conversation from last week, which was Southwest had 2 loyal customers, you two, who had, the Southwest card and the points and all this other stuff. And through a series of changes at Southwest, you found the value proposition to no longer be attractive. And Correct. This isn't just you, right? This is not isolated. So this is real. I mean, this is what we do here is we dissect what's really happening in the world. And so taking that, and I'm not going to rehash that episode because it's a great episode. Definitely need to listen to it. To DoorDash, because we didn't even know this. So we were on our trip. I'll just give a little context. We were on a trip last week, or a week and a half ago, in Silicon Valley doing our Leadership Elite program. And as you know, we do an annual, we call a full immersive retreat, where we study a visionary leader and really dissect their visionary behavior on site, because it adds a lot of context and really drives home some of those very key elements that we take back with us and we integrate, right? Mm-hmm. So super cool stuff we do. So, and of course, innovation, Steve Jobs, we studied a lot of that. So we're there at our retreat villa, and we had some food ordered, which was ordered through a local Safeway. We just thought Safeway was going to deliver it. Well, it turns out DoorDash brought it, which no big deal, right?
Yeah, they offer the service to most they do it that way.
Yeah. Normal, right? Mm-hmm. So we food gets delivered, all this other stuff. One of our members of our group, about 30 minutes later, is saying, "Hey, did somebody take my bag and put it in your room by accident?" Mm-hmm. You remember that?
Yeah. No, I walked halfway down the mountain with him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. He was like, "Will you walk outside with me down the mountain?" He's like, "I'm afraid I'm going to get attacked by some
kind of an animal,
right?" Which is fair where we were.
For sure. Up in the hills.
With Travis's background of wrestling bears, he picked the right guy. Travis, how long did you do that for, Travis?
About 12 years.
Yeah.
Good
you
times.
And Khabib, both.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, you and Khabib.
Yeah, so we walk, because he was following his air tag. And he's like, it literally shows like down this ravine. And I was like,
I knew it was stolen right there.
Yeah, so he's like, will you walk with me? And I'm like, yeah. And I mean, like we went 2 switchbacks. Like we went down. You know what I mean? I was like, man, this is far. And it was dark.
It was raining.
It was dark. Can't see anything. We got our flashlights on our phones. You know what I mean? Looking. And we get right to where the air tag is. And he's like, it's right over there. And like I look over, and it's just, obviously it's a straight drop. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was a cliff.
One wrong move. It's like, hey, what happened to PJ and Travis?
One wrong move and you're falling 30 feet, you know? And I was just like, I don't see your bag, bro. Like, I don't see your bag. He's like, no, I bet somebody stole. And he knew right then. He was like, somebody took it and they threw my air tag down there. And because you couldn't see a bag. I mean, you couldn't see anything. Yeah. But like, you couldn't see a bag just sitting there.
You're such a nice guy, man. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. He's been on the show. Our guest, if you've been listening to the show, you know PJ because
he's a good dude.
He's
a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to make
worse. In other words, but here's the thing. Like, you think about like worst guy this could happen to, right? It's like, but at the same time, you really don't want to happen to anybody.
Right. But especially with everything he had in that bag.
My bag. Right. So what's crazy about it is my bag.
Explain. There's a lot of bags up there.
So I walk in, this is a multi-million-dollar home.
Oh, yeah.
Glass door. I'm like, the instincts in me are like, because everybody's bags were like stacked in order because everybody walked in, dropped their bags there, usually roller bags with their, their laptop bag on it. So I like put my bag, and I'm really like conscious about my stuff. And I'm like, I shouldn't leave it there. I had my jacket on.
You hid your bag behind PJ's bag.
So I literally put my bag behind PJ's bag.
No, I was just kidding. I didn't think you were.
I did. Not purposely. But like that's where it ended up. And then I took my jacket off and put it over my laptop. So you could you could only see that it was luggage. You didn't see my laptop bag, which had, all my stuff in it, all my expensive, stuff. So it could have very easily been me if I just did it this way.
Yeah.
They just happened to hit the jackpot bag.
Yeah.
Because literally, I'm sure if they picked any other bags, all they would get was aspirin, Tylenol,
some underwear,
some
something
products, whatever.
Yeah,
nothing. Instead, they got laptop.
They got Best Buy.
They got Best Buy. They got a Best Buy surprise pack. So
because PJ's a filmmaker and he brought all his film equipment to film
his
the
drone,
event. Yeah, I mean,
everything.
everything.
it's his life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he does.
Yeah.
So, it was really close. And I probably would have been my bag if it was just a little bit farther back and my jacket wasn't sitting on the top of it.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate. Felt really bad. Credit to PJ, kept his head straight, went through the retreat, was positive, let it roll. That was the biggest thing to me that stood out. I think I made a comment to you. I was like, man, taking a hit like that.
Yeah, I don't know how I would have reacted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like getting off.
Could have ruined your whole time.
It could have ruined
Oh, easily.
For
I mean, you're
sure,
getting off
for
on the
sure.
wrong foot, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the number was, but probably 15 to 20.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean,
whatever
it's a
that
lot,
number,
lot,
whatever
it's
worth of
expensive
equipment.
Yeah.
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 Let's start the retreat off. Let's get positive.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, seriously, that's.
It'd be tough to rebound from that. I mean, because all you'd be thinking about is how mad you are. All your stuff's gone.
Yep.
And you want a solution. You want things.
Don't know. I mean, there's some unknowns there, right?
What's DoorDash going to do? Or I didn't think he was.
Where's my stuff? Will they? I mean, is there any way to prove it? I mean, there's all these question marks that are coming up, and so and to lay it all out. Then, well, fortunately, there were cameras there at the retreat, so we were able to get the footage. Turns out, we were right. The bag was stolen by the DoorDash driver.
Yeah,
DoorDasher. I guess they call them dashers, right? And it was very clear. And so I contacted DoorDash that night, and I didn't know what the protocol was. This happened, right? This isn't something that's Sam. You had your spidey senses on.
I did.
A lot of people
Seriously, I triggered as soon as I walked in. I'm like, this is. Then I was like convincing myself. I'm like, you're in multi-million-dollar house and every house here is who's going to come in and take something.
Right.
What's the percentage likelihood of someone taking something? I don't know what that number is, but probably pretty low.
Yeah, unless you work for a company and you are a contractor who knows that and says it's easy picking because you are a thief and a criminal.
Right.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. And that was a prime opportunity. And it's right there.
Cameras matter.
Cameras.
I mean, let me tell you something.
Cameras everywhere, man.
I don't understand people.
I don't either.
Like $2 million house, $3 million house. What do we say it was? Was it more than that?
It was more than that where it is.
Really? Okay. So I've been saying it wrong.
I mean, it overlooks all of Silicon Valley.
Okay.
It's like,
that was a $3 million house in St. Louis.
Right,
It's probably a $15 million house
on
out there.
4 private acres.
Yeah, I've undersold this house.
Multi-level.
Yeah, okay.
5,000
Okay, it's
square
enough,
feet.
Nate. It's enough. I got it. They get it. I was way off. Okay.
You were,
I was way off. But
I mean, in Belleville, it's a $2 million house.
listen, we don't need to talk about where you're from. It's still below where I'm from. Where was I going
Well, I
with
can tell you won't find that house on the west side of Chicago. Not in Cicero.
No.
That's for sure.
Where
I came up.
Yeah. So, no, but when I got in there, I was like convincing myself that it's okay to put my bag there. Like I almost did. I almost picked it up and took it downstairs with me.
Did you feel like pressure because everybody else left their bag there?
I did.
You
did.
felt like a peer pressure? Because I didn't leave my bag there. Like as soon as Nate was like, "Hey, you're in the bedroom downstairs," I was like,
took your stuff.
Cool. I'm taking my stuff. Because I have this weird thing. Like when I get somewhere, I want to completely unpack, put my stuff up, and like get settled in.
Yeah, me too.
Like
I'm the same way.
I feel better doing that.
But I knew I wasn't staying there. So the other thing I was going to say to you thieves out there, public service announcement. You can actually PayPal me or Venmo me for this one. There's cameras everywhere, especially in a $15 million home. Oh man, that's why thieves are not
and actually
smart
really cool
people.
cameras because they moved with the motion. I was like, oh, those are cool cameras. Like following the thieves as they came in and out of the house.
I mean, you just have to expect in this day and age, you're being filmed.
You're on camera.
You're on camera. Act
We're on
like
camera.
It. We're on camera. Like act like it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Don't do something you don't want the world to see.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a sad state of being, but it's the reality. So it is what it is. You know?
Yeah, people used to leave their front doors unlocked in the 50s.
Yeah.
In 60s.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. So cameras, of course, what you say.
Yeah.
What you text.
Yeah.
I've heard it said like this: don't text anything that you don't want to show up in a deposition.
Correct.
right? So even to this day, when you and I, being of Palestinian descent, we say that's the bomb. We say that not like that in our text messages, so that people don't take it the wrong way. But everything, right? Yeah. I mean, just think about when you have this conversation that we're having with our phones here. If our phones are not off, and God, I don't even know if they're ever off.
Right.
But if there's something that any one of us says, this, there might be an advertisement or a YouTube video about some obscure thing that you said. I was at dinner with, it was Valentine's dinner last year, talking about when I lived in Yorkville, Illinois, my mom and my stepdad had a farm, and I talked about farm life for a little bit. It was fun outside of the city and all that. Mm-hmm. The next day, I'm on YouTube, and it shows me an article of some kind of fire in where? Yorkville, Illinois.
Wow.
I mean, seriously, Google?
It's crazy.
Oh, man, everybody's listening and everybody's watching. That's the world we live in today.
Yeah.
And, and as an entrepreneur, that's even more important, right? Because, I mean, if you personally say something that you shouldn't, or comment on Facebook or whatever, that can negatively affect your brand, right?
That's right.
I mean, so it's even more important.
But I also believe in, I mean, I guess you've helped me with that a lot, because I say what I mean, and I don't necessarily worried about everyone's feelings, especially if I feel like it's right. So that doesn't really fit really well. When do you feel like
it's not right? What you say,
right?
Very rare.
Look, man. At the end of the day, we need a little bit more skin in this world. Mm-hmm. We need to be able to take criticism and listen to other opinions that are not ours.
Right.
And that's, once we figure that out, we'll be in a much better place.
I don't disagree.
No. Yeah. And make decisions that are forward facing and have the long game in mind.
Yeah.
And so as I'm talking with the DoorDash people, first thing they say is, we apologize. We don't condone this. This is, here's the steps. Of course, they get this call daily, I would imagine. I don't have the data on that, but I would suspect that they're getting a call every day, or many. The steps are, our legal team will be in touch with you in 24 to 72 hours via email. I got an email I got a call actually on that. This was Friday. I got a call or this is Wednesday night, I think. By Monday, I got a phone call saying that they didn't have my email address correct. Send me the email, blah, blah, blah. So I did that. And then they responded very quickly and asked for any type of substantiating information. So we sent them the videos. And so I expected some phone calls or some emails or some contact with the legal team. The very next message, which really surprised me, I knew this was coming, but was, we'll send you a DocuSign to close out this case with a reimbursement for your stated cost.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, DoorDash stepped up for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if the DoorDash driver, they obviously admitted to it. I mean, they had to have it on camera.
Right, have you on camera.
Yeah.
Well, because if you've been in business, and you've ever had an insurance claim?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had them. I had back in the day when I had my check cashing booth in the city. I got broken into, and I had jewelry and things like that in there. And the insurance guy's like, yeah, we're going to give you like 30% of whatever you say. Or, diminished value, or
did they take all
depreciated
your
value.
All your 8-track cassettes?
8-track cassettes were of no value. The Neil Diamond one. That one had a little bit of value, nostalgic value. So that was the expectation. I expected, well, you'll probably get depreciated value for some of your used stuff.
Of course. Yeah, usually it's depreciated.
How old is it?
Right.
What's the replacement cost of something that's that old? But no, it's just boom, done.
And I think they look at it from a couple of different perspectives. Act swiftly. Take care of the customer. There's more liability for them. There's bad press that could happen. It could be more than whatever they reimbursed him by the time, it could be damages. It could be, there could be additional damages outside of like just the,
did they make him sign an NDA?
Sure they did.
No.
Really?
I'm sure.
Now, I don't know if I did not see the DocuSign because I was not, I was simply an intermediary
We need to remind me to ask.
Ask about that.
I just wonder if
that's a requirement. Yeah.
I'm sure it says in there, it's something along the lines, we reimbursed you for everything you lost. This issue is closed.
Yeah.
There was a detective involved, but the DoorDash didn't ask questions or anything like that, because the detective sent a message, and this was all, I was involved in all these messages, so I can share them. Send a message. I can, if DoorDash isn't cooperating, I can get a warrant for them to cooperate.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the detective was like, yes. I was like, this is my kind of detective, right?
Especially in California.
Yeah, right. But it didn't take that, and I like that. So what do we learn? What do we learn from this situation?
I mean, DoorDash has my respect right now.
Yeah.
Even though I think they're overpriced and it's not a product that I use often, I will feel more comfortable if I ever use them again, that if there is a problem, that they're going to rectify that problem.
I won't use them again. No, there's just too much. I mean, after seeing that, it kind of did something to me.
Yeah.
And it kind of stays there. It's not, they dealt with it right. But then again, contractors coming up to my house.
Yeah.
Or being around my family, seeing my house, seeing my car, seeing my cars, seeing whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And then they tell us, you know what I mean? It just leaves a lot of questions of like what kind of people are actually coming to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Especially
that 6 foot full-size Michael Jordan poster you got hanging up in your living room from 1990.
Oh, it's the greatest time.
The
Wings.
The GOAT. LeBron fans. LeBron fans. He's the GOAT.
You make a good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, I think, well, would I trust them? I mean, how isolated is the incident, right? Would I support that business? I would probably fall in the category where I would still do business with them. But you're right. There's a huge reputational risk. I remember someone telling me that their main role in their company was to reduce reputational risk.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Pharmaceutical company.
Ooh.
Yeah. Big job, right?
It's a big job.
All right. And I thought, wow. And I wrote it down. I was like, what a great phrase, reduce reputational risk. But that's one side of the equation. And we'll talk about a little bit about that. And then we'll talk about how to increase reputational attractiveness, right? And strength. But you're right. A lot on the table, because you've got video footage, shows up on the news, right? How much is that going to cost you?
That's a lot.
I'm going to tell you something. Enough people see that person going in that house, grabbing that bag and walking out. There's going to be a lot of people not dialing DoorDash.
Right. No,
it's just
Grubhub all day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Uber Eats. Let's try them.
Right.
But it's not
the same process.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing.
It's
Probably the same employees. You know what I mean? How
Yeah, they do
all
multiple,
They all
yeah.
just pop around.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same people, and they're driving Uber, Lyft.
Right.
Well, he's the Uber king.
Yeah.
He is like,
Wait till you
What
see
is it?
this expense report.
Right.
yeah, he gets picked up.
Uber Black. Does it have to be Uber Black every
Yeah,
time?
it's like, how do you get to escalate every time? How'd you do that, Trav?
Secret.
Yeah.
So DoorDash, gets a gold star for how they handled the issue, right? Would you have handled it any differently?
If I were DoorDash?
You were DoorDash.
No.
That says a
Handled it
lot.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Handled it well.
Yeah. Okay. So that's DoorDash.
The only other thing they probably could have done is maybe given him like a couple $100 credit on DoorDash so that he would actually use DoorDash
That's
again.
good.
Like some type of
Here's $500.
Yeah,
you're already
here's
right.
$500 of credits.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
On us. Just give us another shot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's like the when you're at a restaurant and the food's not right or whatever, they bring you a slice of cheesecake or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I mean, what's the real
they're
cost?
assuming, you know what, this guy just had, $15,000, $16,000 worth of stuff stolen from him. He's probably never gonna come back, no matter what we do. But I just want to take care of this issue as best as I can.
But it's also the how you present yourself, and it's not just that individual, but every individual involved in this scenario, right? And clearly, every listener on this program, right? So this experience, DoorDash gets it. This is projected out, but you're right. Like, what else can I do? Because that extra cheesecake, people will talk about it.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Right. I mean, and PJ probably will never use DoorDash again, but if he had $500 worth of credit sitting there,
he might use it.
I guarantee you some night it's late, he's hungry, and he's just like,
as long as it's someone else's house.
Drop,
you know what?
Drop it off in the front door. Like don't deliver, just leave it on the front porch,
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, that's something, something easy. I mean, something companies can do, you know what I mean, as a goodwill,
right,
to come back and use your product again.
Yeah. You can turn that, turn that frown upside down.
Yeah.
Right. Find a way. I love that at a restaurant. And that's a great tactic when something's not right. It's on us. The manager comes out and says, hey, look, so super sorry. This is isolated. We just want to treat you, give you something nice. Yeah, and then you go talk about it.
Right.
And then you go back to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a bad experience, they tell, people tell 10 people. A good experience is 1 or 2, maybe. Yeah. Bad experiences definitely go a lot farther.
Yeah.
Yeah, and DoorDash could have strung it out.
Yeah.
It's well within their right to say, okay, well, let's get ahead. Let's just get all this documentation in, this data, see what we want to settle. Mm-hmm. Because it's
because what's PJ going to say? No.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you're in that scenario, like if they'd offer you 50% of what they paid, I'm like, what are your recourses? You know what I mean? Like
I think they gave him full what it would cost for him to buy new ones.
No, they did, but I'm just saying, like, if they would have offered 50% of that, like,
that would be a huge, like, yeah.
But what do you do if you're in that scenario and I mean, I don't know how you fight that, So no, I think they did an amazing job. I think they stepped up, but it does, to your benefit, Sam, it does kind of crack the facade a little bit there, and you think about like
who else is coming to your door.
Who else is like, I mean, think of how many random people through Amazon, right? Like delivery services, like all that random people are literally at your front door.
I picked up my pizza last night. I had pizza last night. Sorry, dude.
That's all right.
Yeah, it happens. So, Travis has me on a so, but yeah, I picked up pizza last night. I was like, you know what? Should I deliver? No. I'm like, I'll just go pick it up.
Yeah. So. Well, that's a good point. I mean, think about that. All those people. And I once I read an article about burglars. It was a really interesting article because it was written by burglars in prison.
Really?
For theft. Yeah, I was like, this is good data, right? So they talked through. It's like they got nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
Talked through. Yeah. What do they look for in a home? And so, because they case houses all the time for that purpose. And interestingly, there were 2 factors that drove them away from homes more than anything else. One, a pet.
Dogs.
Yeah. Yep. Any pet. Yeah. I mean, dogs generally. Yeah. I mean, I guess your cat's not going to, but dogs. And then 2,
cameras.
What's that?
Cameras.
Just a sign, an alarm system sign, because they want the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
So in our scenario, it was the path of least resistance, right? Bag out in front, boom, done, got it. So I thought, wow, what a great, that's important, right? So you don't even have to have an alarm system. It's good to have one. It's good to have cameras, all that. But because they'll just go to the next house that doesn't have those.
Right. It's funny because the way my house sets, my alarm system's kind of by my front door, but there's a big picture window that you can see. Mm-hmm. And so I've read some things. So I've read something where they'll look to see like if you have an alarm system, if it's on, you know what I mean? So literally like as early as possible in the evening, you know what I mean? Cause like my kids go to bed at 7:30. So, we try to get everything done before they go to bed. I put that thing on so they can see that red light, you know what I mean? Just from like the street corner, you can literally see it from like my front yard. You can see there's a red light just as a diversion. You know what I mean? Like
smart.
Yeah. Don't open this door.
Right.
You want to open my door. Yeah. This will be really bad for you.
Yeah, we know how you roll.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So that's a good situation. Well, my friend, thank you for joining me on this episode of A Call to Leadership. If you've been listening, you've probably heard me talk about our accounting and advisory business. And this show was actually born out of that business, those relationships. I found that entrepreneurs and professionals were missing aspects of their leadership that fed into their bottom line and helped their businesses be successful. If you're in that place where you feel, oh my goodness, my tax person or my accountant, I can't find them, or maybe the service wasn't up to my expectations, do not despair. I'll leave how you can find us in the show notes.